Okay, so this is the question we're going to do today. And I'm just going to start off by reading the actual question itself and outlining what we have to do. So the figure shows the design of a logo for a telephone company. The curve LMN is a semi-ellipse as shown. So LMN is a semi-ellipse. Ln is the major axis and is 140 millimeters long as shown. L to N, major axis, and is 140. OM is half the minor axis and is 40 meters long as shown. So OM, that's half the minor axis and is 40 millimeters as shown. Draw the large circle and then complete the given design. So draw this large circle and draw and complete the design. Show clearly all construction lines. So what we're going to do first is we're going to draw the ellipse and then we're going to complete the rest of the construction. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to pick my point somewhere in the center, which is here. Okay? And I'm going to draw a line through it. So I've gone and I've drawn a light construction line. And that's my center point there. Using my set square, I'm going to draw a line straight to that again. Now, so as we learned, the major axis is 140 millimeters in total. Now, from this center point, it's 70 and 70. So let's mark that now. Leaving my set square on the center at 70. So 70 is at the center. I marked 0 and I marked 140. Now, placing this 0 point, all I'm going to do is I can mark from 0 to 40 millimeters for half the minor axis. Now, so as shown now, I'm going to go over in a heavier line just for demonstration purposes, the major and minor axes. So you got the major and the minor like so. Now, using our compass for the next step, we place the compass here, the center on the center point. We place the lead at half the major axis. We then draw a curve, or draw an arc, like so. Now, keeping the center point, the compass on the center point here, we reduce the arc to half the minor, which is 40 mil. We draw in our circle, like so. And now we're ready to use our 30-60 set square to break this circle up into 6 equal parts. Right? So, now, what we're going to do now is we're going to find our points to draw our ellipse. So, I'm going to start off with my major circle. So where the dividing lines hit the major circle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go parallel to the minor circle. So using my set square, I'm going to go parallel, like so, parallel, 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 parallel. So I've got my parallel lines here. The next thing I'm going to do is where they hit the minor circle, I'm going to go parallel to my major axis. So now I have all my points. I'm going to mark them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, so what I want to do now is draw my curve. So remember to try and make the curve as neat and as smooth as possible. So try and get your single line there. Okay. Now remember to go over it lightly first, and then to go over heavier on your second go around. Now, so that's a curve drawn there. We can now use it going over heavier on our pencil. Like so. So that is our semi-ellipse drawn. So now we have the semi-ellipse drawn. And now all we have to do is draw the next part. So that's for our second half of the question. Okay, so now that we have the ellipse drawn, let's move on to the rest of the logo. So what we're going to do is we're going to move down. We're going to move down and we're going to come down from here. We have this point. This is the corner of the ellipse. And we're going to come down 50 millimeters. We're going to draw this line across. And by doing that, we're going to be able to find our center point here for our circle and also draw this rectangle in here. So we're going to come down 50 millimeters as shown in the diagram. And that's going to find us our point here. I'm going to draw the line straight across, still a construction line at this. Okay. I'm going to mark down 25 millimeters. So that's kind of like the thickness here of a rectangle. Okay. So mark down 25. So now, if I look for 70 here, we go right out until the point here. So we've got 70 out to this point here. So now I can draw my rectangle in. Drop it down. And one more corner to do. Now from here, Now, so we've got a rectangle now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on my circle here, which is R, radius 60, and that's going to give us our construction circle for all this, but also our solid line here. Okay? So we're going to place it here. 70, we've already marked 70 across here. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw our circle in, still as a construction line. So now that we have our construction line, what we're going to do, okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to resume here drawing. So we've marked in our big circle here, like so. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to look at these lines here, these two straight lines here across that are horizontal. We're going to draw them in. So they're on the major axis, right? And they're 30 millimeters long. So mark in 30, right? And then this side we're going to mark in 30. Now, if you notice, these lines go straight up until they hit that big circle. So let's draw that in. Draw it straight up. Okay. Now, where these hit the big circle, I'm going to draw a line straight across. Like so. So I've drawn a line straight across. So now what we've got is we've drawn that line straight across. And now we know from the center point, so we can see here that line there, that's what we're looking at. That line there has a length of 60. So that's 30 mil from here to here and 30 mil from here to here. So let's mark that in. I'm going to leave my 30 mil on the center point there. And I mark to here and to here. So I'm going to mark that in heavy now. Like so, mark that in heavy. Okay. Now, I know I have to draw this curve in here. Do we see this curve? So what that is that it's the arc of a circle, and I know that it's 65 millimeters long. And it's the exact same on both sides. So what I can do is I mark 65, using my compass, I mark 65 using my set square, mark 65, and I know that that's a point in the circle, and that's a point in the circle. So if I draw an arc from this point and mark an arc here, put the center point of the compass there, draw an arc, it's there, and put the center point of the compass here and draw an arc, I'll find the center point. Okay? So the important thing to remember here is any point on the circle is always equal to the radius. So now if I've drawn my two arcs, I've drawn an arc from here, which is the one point on the circle, and then I've got the radius of the circle marked on, and I've drawn the last one is here. Draw the radius circles like so. Now, you see I've got a nice arc, okay? So I'm going to do the exact same point thing. Place the center point of the compass here. Draw an arc. Place the center point of the compass here. Draw an arc. Then I've got my last. So one more thing I'm going to do. So I'm just going to heavy in that line there. And that is our question complete.